Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so nice to see you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I had some technical difficulties there for a second. Like, as soon as we started, OBS just said nope and crashed like hardcore. So here we are. We're back though. We're back. We're back. Hi, Broom Hatter. You got your new shirt today. Oh my gosh. Put it in Discord. Big Ben. Hello. Jay Nixon. White Shadow. Mandelbrot. Mino. Hello. Cloth Tunics. Hello. Hello. Tom still here. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Big Ben, for subscribing at tier one. And I see Big Ben gifted a tier one sub to Coco. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm really excited. Seriously, super duper duper excited because this is a conversation that, normally I do my research and, gather a lot of information so I can ask really good questions and stuff like that. But the more I started learning about this person, and already the fact that I have met them twice and have had like so much fun hanging out with them in person, I am just like beyond words right now. And also, of course, Bobby is joining too, because as you know, the cats they won't always want to be the star of the show, right? But today, this person is the star of the show. In my chat, please welcome the amazing, incredibly talented, and wonderful CocoConfession. Oh, kitty!
I it's right. It's on brand for him to just take over right before I'm supposed to be live anywhere.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. That is so cute though. I mean, really, like, what's one of my favorite things, Coco, is the TikToks that you do where
Oh yeah,
it's like
he's a hooligan.
paw, paw, paw. Well, welcome. It's so nice to have you. Bobby says hi too.
I'm glad. See, you have a friend, Bugs.
I know. Look, cats unite. But thank you so much, Coco, for taking the time. I'm so happy and excited to talk to you today. Um,
Yeah.
for anybody who might be watching the VOD or doesn't know who you are, please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about your channel.
Sure. I'm Coco. I have been a streamer for about 5.5 years now. Definitely variety. I feel like I play everything under the sun. And I also play music too. So right now, a lot of the content is retro. I do speedrun A Link to the Past. So I've been trying to get back on that grind. I play a lot of indie games, lots of platformers, rogues, Metroidvanias, and I also play music too. Every once in a great while, you'll see a music stream on the channel.
Which is,
So, all right, I'm gonna have to get rid of you, Bugs. I'm sorry, I can't focus.
I know,
I'm
like
sorry.
that. Sometimes I have to do that to Bobby too, because she'll be like, let me try and press all of the keys on the keyboard. And I'm like, Bobby, no. What? Listen, I totally understand. But yo, you know what's really cool? I love that you brought up that you played music because you actually played at TwitchCon this year. What was that like?
I did. I did play at TwitchCon. That was scary, but it was awesome. I had it's so funny because back in 20 what was it? 2018? 2019.
Mm-hmm.
2019
Mm-hmm.
TwitchCon in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I was up at the Cabana and I said I watched the music. I was like, I'm gonna play on that stage one day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play on that stage one day. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. And then the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I actually had the opportunity to play more music on stream, which was really a really cool thing to be able to. I get really bad stage fright, so
Yeah.
playing live in front of people is really scary for me. So
Right.
doing it through a computer was a really great way to kind of ease myself into playing live more often. So I got to play on stream a lot more. I learned a lot more about playing just instruments in general and
Yeah.
also teaching myself vocals, which was
Yeah.
very scary. And it kind of opened up this opportunity to play with other musicians. So I was asked by CA in LA to play bass for their band at TwitchCon, and I was just like so blown away and so excited and so honored that they chose me to play with them. So it was a really cool like full circle moment. Um like when you manifest something, you're like, "I'm gonna do that one
Yeah.
day," and then it happened, and it was,
Yeah.
like, a really, really cool experience, so,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah, you spoke it into existence. That makes me so happy for you that you were able to like visualize it and then it happened, you know? That is so so cool. Oh gosh. So, do
Yeah.
you mostly play bass or do you play other instruments as well?
So when I play live, let's say like in LA, for example,
Mhm.
I play bass for bands. I'm sort of like I'll just sit in the back and I'll have my bass and I'll just chill. I don't need a mic. I don't I just want to hang out. On stream though, I usually play guitar and I try to sing along with it. So it's very different depending on what I'm doing. But I would consider myself more of a bassist than a guitarist. I'm just
Yeah.
better at it in general.
Yeah.
Um and it's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah, I've definitely
So,
seen you do some rocksmith stuff, which is
I'm
really
sorry.
cool.
I have Bug's hair all over my
Oh my
face.
gosh.
I can feel
You
it.
totally that is me sometimes, like, sometimes Bobby will come and sit in my lap, and then I'll get, like, the fur flying around, I could see it all over the
See?
camera, and I'm like, "Oh, it's all over my face."
Yeah. It's having cats, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Um, so yeah, so it's a I really music was actually something that I wanted to do before streaming.
Yeah.
Way before, that was a passion of mine, and it's really tough in LA. There's so much competition, you
Yeah.
know? There's so many talented artists in general. Actors, actresses, musicians, comedians. There's just so much talent here, creative talent here. It's really overwhelming and a little bit intimidating to kind of put yourself out there, especially when I've never taken a music lesson in my life.
Yeah.
Everything I've learned was on my own off
Yeah.
the off the internet, you know. So it is a little scary to put yourself out there. So Twitch has been awesome in that way. I've been able to really experiment and see kind of like where I fit in the
Mhm.
best and what works for me. You know, you make a lot of mistakes along the way, but it's, you know, it's awesome. Like Twitch has just done so much for me in so many ways, you know.
Yeah, and you have a super supportive community that really loves what you do too. I'm sure it's like anything you do, they're gonna cheer you on. It's like so much fun. Like, oh my God, Coco's playing music today. So exciting. That's awesome. But
They're the best of hooligans for sure.
well, I hope you continue on that. And I understand why it could be kind of scary because you got to be vulnerable with like doing things that you're not used to doing, or maybe things that you feel like you need practice on, especially like for me, if I was to ever learn one thing in my life that I don't have any capacity in doing, it would be to sing. So I could understand why that's like super like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous.
It's a little scary, you know? It's especially with something like that. It's like people who are creative, you know, I feel like I'm what's the it's like jack of all trades, master of none. You know, like that's kind of how I feel like I can play bass, I can play guitar, I can sing, but I could never like, I have to work really hard at it, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I can't not study for a test and show up and get an A, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, some people can do that, and I can't. So it's like it's one of those things where, like, imposter syndrome plays a really big part, you
Yeah.
know? So I
Yeah.
totally get that, especially with singing. Singing is terrifying in front of people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it's not like karaoke's one thing, but then, like, actually performing vocals is, like, a completely different beast,
Yeah.
so
Do you have a favorite karaoke song?
it's changed over the years. I mean, I right now, my karaoke song is For Non-Blondes, "What's Up?" But,
I love that song.
I've done yeah, that's a really good one because people sing along with you. Like,
Yeah.
the trick to karaoke, if you're nervous about karaoke, get a song that everybody knows and will sing with you. It'll
Ex
help.
Yup. Mhm.
Um, "Living on a Prayer," Bon Jovi was my karaoke song for a while. If I'm getting, like, real spicy, I'll do, like, a My Chemical Romance
Mm.
song, an emo song or something. Oh my god. Ash, I almost wore your shirt today. I just saw your mug,
Oh my gosh, I
and
just
I
got
almost
this.
wore your shirt today.
Yeah, this
Oh
is
my gosh.
brand new. Oh, thank you so much.
Please.
That's really funny. But yeah, I just got this. I was like, "Oh my God, it came out so good." So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wash it and use it."
Okay, that I love that shirt. I love wearing it whenever I start like a new game,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
What I wore it for the first day. I started Witcher 3
Yeah.
for the first time on stream, and everybody's like, "Be careful," So I wore your shirt
Yeah.
along with like a disclaimer on the screen saying like no hints, no help, no tips, tricks.
Yeah.
And then of course people still want a backseat, but
Do you
the shirt helps.
It's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Do you find that you have to deal a lot with backseating while you're
Oh
playing
yeah.
like new games, especially like new games for you?
Um, I do. It's very specific games, very specific franchises, and retro. So retro games, and then I would say any sort of Souls-like game or any sort of like cult classic strategy game. I get a lot of backseating on.
Yeah.
Probably one of the worst games I had backseating on was Final Fantasy Tactics.
Really?
Yes, my moderators can confirm.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. Why do you think that is? Like what do you think it is that's just like I get why people get excited about something and they want to share that enthusiasm, but it's like
Yeah. I think especially with retro, there's so much nostalgia,
mhm.
connected with it, and
Mhm.
people just want to share the things that they love about the game. But a lot of those things that you want to share are probably spoilers or backseating things. And Final Fantasy Tactics doesn't do a great job of explaining a lot of the mechanics in the game. So it's really easy to set yourself up for failure. And that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
So I got stuck on a boss for like 4 streams, but it was a lot. There was a lot of people. They wanna help. It's very
Yeah.
rare that people come in and try to do malicious backseating.
Yeah, it's rare that people come in and be like, "Oh, what are you doing? Why did you do that? That was so dumb." Like it's like, "Come on." Like, no. Yeah. Okay, well that's good. I'm glad
Well,
it's
you
more
do a lot of retro.
yeah,
So, I mean, there's a reason why you have a shirt that says "No
that's
backseating, no
true.
tips."
That's true. That's true. You know what I think, you know what I noticed like for me, I mean, obviously my mods do a really heck of a great job like purging those kinds of comments and stuff. But I find that if my like, if it's like a time where I streamed a really long time or maybe my mods aren't there or whatever, like if I just like kind of ignore it, they'll stop. But I could totally see how it could like throw somebody off, especially if it's something where it's like you really were looking forward to playing this game and then all of a sudden it's like story has been spoiled and now it's like, oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Have you played Final Fantasy 7? I can't remember.
OG, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but not on Twitch. Like in my life, yes.
Okay. That was probably I feel like during that game, and I'm not gonna say anything here just in case people here haven't played it or whatever, but people who've played it know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
My moderators, the work that they did to keep me from being spoiled about certain things about that game, I can't believe that I wasn't. Like
Yeah.
everything in that game was a surprise to me, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, the amount of work that went into not having me spoiled by, some of the big
Yeah.
storyline stuff. But there are some malicious people on the platform that like to go and ruin things for people. They
Yeah.
have to, but
But thanks for our great mods. You don't got to worry
yeah,
about that. You don't got to worry about that.
I
But
love my mods.
okay, so tell us a bit about your journey with A Link to the Past because that's how I found you. And I love, love, love. And I know it can be really tough running a game like that, especially being how long it is and stuff. So tell us your journey with that game.
Sure. Well, okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, where do I start? So, it's my favorite game of all time and will always be my favorite game of all time. When I was a very, very young girl, my mom's a gamer.
Yeah.
Uh, we didn't have a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo for me and my brother. It was
Yeah.
for my mom. So I just remember from a very young age watching my mom play Super Mario 3 on the
Mhm.
NES, and at that point, I just enjoyed watching her so much. I didn't really game. And then when we got the Super Nintendo, because she used to play Zelda on the NES as well. But
Yeah.
then when A Link to the Past came out, I was a little bit older and I can understand like the puzzles a little bit more. So I was able to kind of not only watch her, but be involved.
Mhm.
And I would help her with the puzzles. And it was like this really cool thing that we would do together. Um, and like that always stuck in my mind. So when I was old enough to like play it on my own, I was like, oh my gosh, this game is awesome. Cause the nostalgia part of it. But I also think that it just holds up really well compared to most retro games. I don't know, I think it's a great game. I think it's the best Zelda game out there. So on stream, I hadn't played it for years, and this was when I don't know, this was maybe 2019, maybe even earlier than that, where I was like, let's play this on stream and let's see how fast I can beat it.
Yeah.
So I did it on stream. I beat it in 8 hours, and I was like, oh, that's not too bad. Let's see if we do it faster. And it just became this like competition with myself. And I didn't really realize at the time that there was a huge speedrunning community until I started to get really competitive with it. And I started looking up strategies
Yeah.
and routes and all these different glitches and tricks. And then it kind of just came into this thing where now this is just something that I do. I love the competition. I love the game. It's really fun to discover new things about the game, new glitches, new bomb skips, whatever. Um, and I think it's been pretty fun for the community too. We've had a really, really good time with it. So now we do something called Speedrun Bingo, which
Oh,
has been really fun. So one of my moderators made a bingo card. And so now every time we do speed runs, chat can play along with bingo, and we have like game keys to give away and all sorts of other stuff that they can get. So it's a pretty fun thing that we do on the channel. And I try to speedrun at least once a week, at least right now.
yeah.
So it's fun. It's a good thing. I it has been a really awesome way to really be engaged with not only the retro community but the speedrunning community. And I just feel like it's been kind of like just a convergence of like multiple communities coming together and being able to enjoy something that we all love. And it's been a really awesome time.
That is so cool. I love the speedrun bingo. I see that's one of your channel points and stuff too. I think that that's so cool and it's like really fun, but not everything on the bingo card has to happen in the game, right? Like sometimes it's stuff you say or stuff you do.
Right. Yeah, it gets pretty competitive. We have some real serious bingo people
Oh,
in the stream sometimes. Like we have some people who are there every time and they want to play bingo and they want to be the first one. And so it makes for like a fun little competition for chat too.
I love that. That's such a cool way to kind of like, connect with your chat. Well, because, sometimes when you're speedrunning, you really have to focus, especially when it's like a part where it's like, I don't know, like the treasure chest in the Dark World town or like, like certain boss areas or whatever. It's probably like taking all of your focus. So that's like something they can do while you're like super zoned in on the game.
Yeah, I mean, I was always worried, oh, you're watching the same thing over and over and over again. Like that's got to be boring. It's not. I mean, people love watching speedruns. That's why there's such a big speedrun. There's so much
Yeah.
speedrun content on Twitch. So it's all in my, it's all in my own head. Like I think this is boring because people are watching me do the same thing. So I was just like, how can we keep them engaged? But whether we have bingo or not, like people are there and they love it and they're always cheering me on and always like encouraging me to do better. And they get so excited if I get a gold split or if I'm really close to my PB, or they get really mad with me when RNG doesn't go my way,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really cool thing. I never thought I would do anything like that. When I first started off on Twitch, if you told me I'd be speedrunning, I'd think there's no way. No way.
Wow. And that's
So
cool. And you know what, chat? I didn't know. I thought Coco only did Link to the Past, but then I saw this game on the list.
we've talked about this.
I just thought it was so cool. I was like, I saw that on your list. I was like, wait a minute. I actually have the box for that.
No. Okay. So I went through this phase of playing because I have a couple retro stores in my area
Yeah.
that I go sometimes, and I like look through all the bins and see what kind of games they have. And some of them are, especially the Game Boy games, some of them are, $2,
Yeah.
$4,
Yeah.
So I already had Crazy Castle 2, and I
Yeah.
found 1 and 3.
Yeah.
So we just decided, sort of as a joke, like, let's run it all in one day. Let's finish it, and we'll time ourselves, and we'll submit the runs on speedrun.com.
Yeah.
So I did. And I did beat someone, I believe on Bugs Bunny 3. I think I beat someone. So a couple days later, the moderator on speedrun.com, the person who had to watch through my run and verify it, came by my stream a few days later. It was like, "Hey, I was the one who verified your Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle run." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." So now it's a running joke that I'm a Bugs Bunny speedrunner. So what I decided to do was, for a charity incentive, if we hit our goal, that I will seriously speedrun Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 1, 2, or 3, and I'll try to take the number 1 spot.
Okay. I want to see chat. Who is down for Coco in a Bugs Bunny onesie speed running this whole game?
No.
Who's that? Put a 1 in chat if you're down for that. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Yeah, one of the runs I actually went up and took a bathroom break because it was like a 4-hour run. So I got up and took a bathroom break in the middle. These poor moderators on speedrun.com probably hate me, but yeah.
That is too funny. So you're telling me after okay, so then after Bugs Bunny, you're gonna start speed running Sonic, right?
No, absolutely not. Okay, Ash, no joke. There is not enough money that could be raised for charity for me to play another Sonic game in my life. Okay,
Oh my!
it's that bad. My chat made me play Sonic Adventure not too long ago in a Sonic onesie, and I swear a part of my soul died.
Oh
A
my!
part of my soul died. That game was terrible. I do hear the new Sonic game is good though. People are saying it's pretty good.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about that too. Actually, it's funny. I'm like really excited about it because a lot of people were saying they were enjoying it, and then all of a sudden, like some reviews started coming out from some other people, and they were like, "This game's trash." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Man, I'm still playing it. I don't care. It looks pretty cool." Sonic open world.
I think it's important to note that when we talk about retro games, we can acknowledge a game or a franchise. Even if we don't like it, I think we can still acknowledge that it was important to video game history and the evolution of video games. And I think Sonic is one of those franchises where it's just not for me. I didn't grow up with it either, so I don't have the nostalgia.
Yeah.
But I also understand how important it was for that time period and the evolution of video games as a whole. So I'll give it that.
Okay.
But that's all I'm giving it.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so you
So wait, do you like wait, hold on. Do you like Sonic? Are you a Sonic fan?
Okay, I do like Sonic 1, 2, and 3. I do. Was it tough when I played it? Yes, it definitely was. I definitely wanted to drop some F-bombs at some points in time. But that's really the extent of my experience with Sonic, other than like briefly playing the Game Gear version like that my cousin had when I was growing up. But like I've never played like any of the 3D Sonic games, like Sonic CD, any of the newer ones, Dreamcast, none of that. So I don't know.
To me, it sounds like you don't love Sonic, but that's my own perspective on your
I got tails back there.
I feel like you're Team Coco and not Team Sonic in this conversation, and I will take it.
I mean, if I had to choose, I would choose Team Coco over Sonic. I mean, Mario isn't going to be happy with me choosing Sonic, so I mean, I got it,
Fair.
So, yeah. But you did mention that your charity incentives, and I just want to touch on that real quick because you do some absolutely incredible and amazing work, in collaboration with, the Lupus America Foundation. Can you tell us about Game On to End Lupus and all of the work that you do to raise money?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is a topic of conversation quite often in all of my spaces. I was diagnosed with lupus about 15-ish years ago, but I've been battling it for over 20 years. And it's something that I was always really afraid of talking about.
Mhm.
It was something I wouldn't say I was ashamed of it, but it was one of those things where I just didn't want people to treat me differently.
Yeah.
And I was almost like in denial for so long that I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm not different. I can still do everything. I was like being stubborn. I was like, I can do anything I want to put my mind to. And as I started to get older and as I started to really get involved in the streaming space, um, I realized that it's like it doesn't really define who I am, but it is still a part of me, and it's something that I could use to maybe help someone else.
Mhm.
My experiences, the things that I've gone through, especially in the United States and the condition of our healthcare. It's so hard to navigate a chronic illness. So, um, I was decided, especially when I started streaming, I had been streaming for a couple of years at that point, and I was I wanted to give back. I
Yeah.
mean, I got so much support um, on this platform from so many people, and I wanted to do something to give back to the community. So I thought, well, let's do some fundraising streams. Let's raise money for charity. And I'm obviously going to choose the Lupus Foundation, right? So we started doing just individual campaigns on the channel. And I mean, I was setting my goals at 200, 300, $500, and then we would hit that in the first 30 minutes, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, there's something here.
Yeah.
um because streamers build these communities and we all come together, and I was always so open about my experience with lupus and the struggle of being a content creator while battling a chronic illness. And I just felt like a lot of people kind of resonated with that, not necessarily if they had lupus, but if they had any chronic illness,
Yeah.
mental or physical. So I just started doing fundraising campaigns for the Lupus Foundation. And then they reached out to me after 2 or 3 campaigns that I did for them. They're like, thank you so much. Anything you need, you're one of the only people that fundraises on Twitch for our nonprofit. And I was like, that's weird. I've met so many people that have lupus or have, autoimmune diseases. Let's change that.
Right.
So I pitched this idea to her. She's wonderful. Her name's Stacy. She runs a lot of the fundraising events and campaigns for the Lupus Foundation of America. And I said, hey, May's Lupus Awareness Month. Let's try and get a bunch of streamers to just like blitz a weekend, all fundraise for the Lupus Foundation, and let's see what happens. She's like,
Yeah.
great, let's do it. Maybe we'll get t-shirts for you guys or something. I was like, perfect. I had no idea. I had no idea what was gonna happen.
Uh-huh.
My goal was like 10 streamers to raise $10,000 over 3 days,
Yeah.
and the first year we ended up having over 30 streamers. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is wild." So many people are affected by lupus. Either they have lupus, they know someone with lupus, or they know someone with an autoimmune disease. So it just turned into this thing. We're going on our 4th year in May. It'll be our 4th year doing it. And so far, the entire event over the 3 years that we have done it have raised $335,000 for the foundation. So it's pretty awesome. And now we have a really amazing team of admins. We have a team of moderators. We had over 120 people participate last year. And this year, we're hoping to hit that $500,000 mark in May after everything's said and done. So I'm so grateful for everyone who participates, but that's kind of, it just came from like an idea. And now it's this really big event. And we are the largest collaborative fundraising event, digital fundraising event for the Lupus Foundation of America. So on Twitch, which is pretty cool. So
I'm at a loss for words. Like that is the most amazing story. Like you went from literally nothing existing and people not really knowing that there are other creators who could band together for this one amazing cause to having a humongous impact and then creating an event that people are a part of every year and gets better every year because you're raising more, you're doing more, you're bringing more visibility, and absolutely incredible. Like, I wish you nothing but like the best success, especially
Thank
since
you.
you know the next one's coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, we just had our first call, our first it's like prep call for the event in May. And we have a lot to do, but we're very, very excited. It's it's one of those things where you don't realize how like you never know what someone's going through. You
Yeah.
never know who's battling with something. And I had no idea there were so many people on this platform that suffered from lupus or chronic illness or
Yeah.
autoimmune diseases. And you see all these amazing fundraisers on Twitch. You see St. Jude's, you see Extra Life, you see all sorts of amazing campaigns with all these people raising millions of dollars for these
Yeah.
charities, which is great. There are so many other smaller nonprofits that can also use our help.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I always encourage people, like, if you have something you're passionate about, your community is going to be passionate about it too.
Absolutely.
So always pick, um, charities or causes that you feel strongly about. So I think that's kind of what happened. It's just all these people either suffer themselves or know someone that suffers. And it was just very real for them that the money that we're raising is helping people like us.
Absolutely.
And what's amazing about the Lupus Foundation of America is they give us all the information of where our money's going to,
Yeah.
so we know exactly. So our money funds research
Mhm.
for new treatments. They're doing a bunch of new studies on treatments for lupus patients that don't respond to normal therapies or medications.
Yeah.
And they're always looking for a cure. Hopefully, within our lifetime, we'll have one. And then they put the money towards advocacy programs. So they do a lot of advocacy work in DC,
Mhm.
where they try to get funding for these research programs.
Yeah.
And then they have a bunch of education programs as well. So for people who are newly diagnosed, for people who need help with access to healthcare, or any sort of advocacy lawyer, if people are struggling with any sort of legal issues because of the
Yeah.
disease, they have access to those resources as well. So it's really cool to see the impact we're making in that way with just playing video games for charity on Twitch. Oh, are you coming in to say hello to everybody?
Oh my gosh. That is
Folks wants to be a part of this little conversation that we're having.
I know. I don't blame bugs. Oh my gosh. That's like absolutely incredible. I love that they're so transparent with you all and let you know how everything you do is directly impacting them and helping so many people along the way. That's really awesome. That's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
So,
and it also helps us run our campaigns better,
yeah.
where we can, like, tell people, like, "This is where your money's going. This is
Yeah.
how you're helping people," you
Yeah,
know?
that was gonna be my next question was, like, when you have to organize all of this, like, what are the things that you're having to think about when you, put together an event like this? Like, when you're thinking about, "How do I create, like, good incentives?" Like, "How do I organize everybody to be," like, doing this all at the same? Because that takes a lot of work. So, what does it take to do that kind of thing if somebody wants to get into charity broadcasting?
So, like, from an individual standpoint or from, like, a big event with multiple
I think
people?
let's start with the individual standpoint because I think that
Okay.
that information would be most helpful to people who might be new to it.
Sure. I think, like I said before, picking a charity that you're really passionate about,
Yeah.
um, is really important. And then if you know that you want to do maybe a weekend of fundraising. Planning is so important. Planning any event is so important. I've always said that running any sort of big event is 90% planning and 10% execution,
Yeah.
because really that's what it is. I mean, the we do 3 days in May, right? For Game On and Lupus, and we start planning now.
Yeah.
So, not that an individual event would need that much time, but I have been planning my event. I'm doing an individual event next month in December, and I've been planning it for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, so I think planning is really important. I think that using, your social media from a marketing standpoint is really important. Getting your community bought in, letting them know like what your plan is. Like tell them 2 months in advance, hey, I'm gonna do this fundraiser in
Yeah.
December, and this is what I'm thinking about doing. Like get them excited about it. And even
Yeah.
ask them what they want to see. You
Yeah.
want to run an event that's special.
Yeah.
And I always say do something that you wouldn't normally do on stream
Yeah.
so that it feels special.
Yeah.
So, like a really great example is I hate playing horror games, but I do it for every charity event. So people come and donate money and scare the living daylights out of me while I'm playing a horror game?
You know what's my favorite? Coco wearing pink.
Yeah, that's always yes, that's always on there too. Actually, I haven't had a pink incentive for a while. That might have to be an incentive for this upcoming December. Is like pink week where I have to wear all pink all week.
Yep. I
It's been
love
a
it.
while.
I love it. I don't know if this was a charity incentive, but I definitely saw a clip where you were giving like relationship advice. And there was one where it was like, I want to ride you as hard as Mario rides Yoshi. And I was like,
Oh no. Oh no.
huh?
It was okay, so this was for Sim Week. It wasn't for charity, but it was
Okay.
we do something called Sim Week on the channel. And we do all simulation games. So it's just actually a really funny story because that week didn't go as planned at all. So one
Okay.
of my moderators, he loves simulation games. So he full on plans day by day what the theme is, what the games are going to be, and what I'm cosplaying as. Like he almost gets control of my stream for the week.
Oh.
Which is scary but also hilarious. So that week we had a what did we have? We had a space day where I had to wear like I wear like a space helmet. We had a manager day where I had to dress up as a manager. Then we had date night. So I was in like a date outfit. But what happened is this guy right here, this cat chewed through the first day of Sim Week, chewed through my lights behind me. Um, and so I had no lights. It was like really ugly background, like no lights, nothing back here. And so it turned into this thing where instead of lights, I started putting management advice up there. And
Uh-huh.
then I started putting dating advice up there. So I started like, taping them all back. And so it just turned into this thing. And so on date night, we did the Dead by Daylight dating sim. So we
Yeah.
did that day. And then anytime someone gifted subs, I would give them dating advice.
Oh.
Um, It's not my finest moment on Twitch. The streams just got so out of control. Like, it was one of those times where I really felt not in control of my stream, which was, like, the best, and, it made for really great content, but like I'm still having to relive a lot of those jokes today, and that happened, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago,
Yeah, it
so
was 3 months
there's
ago, yeah.
there is another sim week coming up in January,
Oh, I'm
so
writing
who
this down right
knows?
now.
Who knows what's gonna happen then? I've seen the preliminary spreadsheet with the themes, and I just it's gonna be great, but it's I just like to do embarrassing stuff on the internet. It's fine.
It's great. In fact, I remember because I was okay, so I would click on one clip and then I would be like, "Oh my god," like cracking up, and then I'd click on another clip and then be cracking up again. So I was just going through all of your clips. So there was one where I think you were like crying. You were like, "No, I'm ugly. This is gonna be on the internet. This is on the internet forever." I mean, like you were like ugly crying or something, and
I
I was
was
like,
ugly crying on the internet. It's the chat. Blame chat. They're too good to me. And I get just overwhelmed with emotion sometimes because they're just so good to me and I've always been in jobs in situations where I always felt like I was never good enough.
yeah,
Especially in retail.
yeah,
Because I worked in retail for almost 12 years
yeah,
running big flagship retail stores. And it was never enough.
Mhm.
Worked nights, weekends. I worked, 60-hour weeks and only getting paid 40 hours, Um, and, you would think that being in fashion wouldn't, it's very geared towards women, but it was actually a very sexist and misogynistic industry.
Yeah.
And I experienced a lot of that. So, when you go from that to Twitch, where you have I mean, a lot of these people aren't strangers anymore. Because I built such great relationships with people in my chat for 5+ years. But when you have strangers on the internet that encourage you and believe in you and think that you're doing something special, um, sometimes I just get a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And, it's really awesome to have that kind of support, and it really does give me hope in humanity,
Yeah.
because, this world can be really ugly, and there are, especially nowadays, it's really hard to exist in this world, especially as a woman,
Yeah.
especially as, if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, or if you're a person of color, or um, there's just so many things that we're up against as marginalized people, as marginalized creators on the platform.
Yeah.
So having this group of people, your community that like always has your back,
Yeah.
probably to a fault. I am gonna throw that out there. That my community believes in me to a fault. Um that it's just it's giving me a purpose that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
Uh and I think that's what we all want, right? We want a
Yeah.
purpose. We want to leave this earth. Well, most of us want to leave this earth better than we found it. I think a lot of us want to make a mark. We want to have a legacy that is good. And so Twitch has like given me that purpose, has made me feel like I'm doing something that means something instead of just getting yelled at for a dress that's not
Yeah.
available in a retail store. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just think we're doing good. And with all the charity work and all of that, I feel really good about what we're doing, and I want to do more. But I'm only one
Yeah.
person. There's only 24 hours in a day, but
Oh
I
gosh. Yeah. I totally hear you, like, seriously, because, well, first of all, I can relate to you absolutely 100% with the whole retail, working 40 hours a week or working 60 hours a week and getting paid 40 hours a week, and not feeling like you're being seen or your work is being, validated by, somebody else. Like, I totally know how that can feel like just a really tough place to be in. But I'm really glad that you found this space on Twitch. And I just want to say how inspiring you are, not just to me, but I know to many people, because of all of the things that you do and how outspoken you are about issues that, they need somebody to speak up for them. You know what I'm saying? So I really love that you do that. And I'm always so like happy to see, anything that you do, because it's just like, I know you do it with your whole heart, and that's really awesome. So I love that. I love that you are on this platform, and thank you for everything that you do, because that's really awesome. So
Okay, Ash, you cannot make me ugly cry on the internet. So it's on the internet forever. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, so funny. Okay, well, all right. Is there anything that you want to share? Because I know you mentioned earlier that you do a lot of variety broadcasting, and something that I like to talk about, because even for myself, like, I feel like I deal with this issue, but like, when you're variety broadcasting, how do you manage, like, going from one category to another, and having different, maybe, like, audiences for all of those different things? Like, is there any advice you can give about how to manage that kind of thing?
Oh gosh. There's no formula, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no formula for Twitch in general.
Yeah.
But variety is tough. I mean, when I was first a little baby Fortnite streamer.
Which I
And then
love. I love that like, you did so many different things,
oh gosh. I Yeah, I mean, my games starting off was Fortnite. I played Fortnite, Final Fantasy 14, Ark, and Friday the 13th. Like those were my main games for probably the first 4 to 6 months of streaming,
Yeah.
which is pretty wild to think about. But I did know that, I mean, with anything variety, I feel like the growth in for a variety broadcaster is gonna be tough. It's gonna be slow. You're gonna have lots of peaks and valleys, right? Because as you start migrating from directory, you're gonna gain people, you're gonna lose people. It's like this constant back and forth. But I think it's I mean, I feel like my community just kind of expects anything from me at this
Yeah.
point. Like, sometimes they just have no idea what I'm gonna play that like, the other day, I was just like, "I'm just gonna play Darkest Dungeon today and do a challenge run," and
Yeah.
nobody really knew it was coming. I
Yeah.
just sort of did it,
Yeah.
which is awesome because I have my people that show up and support but, there are people that will come in for Darkest Dungeon for that challenge run, and then they'll leave when I'm done playing it.
Yeah.
So and that happens, and it's tough, and I think that you kinda have to be prepared for that kind of back and forth all the time. Um, but I think that if you can stick with it and if you can manage those types of ebbs and flows, and if you can really have your community come there for you, it's very, very possible to be variety and be a very successful variety streamer. I mean, I still don't have it figured out yet,
Mhm.
and I've been doing it for 5.5 years. I think it's a lot of taking risks and evaluating those risks and deciding what's going to be best for your stream and your business. And don't be afraid to make mistakes because you're just going to learn from them.
Mhm.
And I think that's sometimes what holds us back. It held me back for a very long time. I didn't want to take any risks. I was too
Mhm.
scared. It's like, what happens if I fail? I don't want to fail. you
Yeah.
know? I think as humans, we're afraid of failure, we're afraid of rejection. But I think that those things are really important parts of growing as a person, as a business person, as an entertainer.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I guess that's the best advice I have is just like, don't be afraid to try something.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You move on and you do something different, but you will never know until you try those things,
Yeah,
you know?
like I've listened to there's this like service that I signed up for. It's called Masterclass, and I signed up for a masterclass from the lady that invented Spanx. And one thing that she talked
Oh.
about, it's so good. Like I think you would really love listening to it. She talks about how her father used to ask her every day, "How did you fail today?" And then it kind of normalized them wanting to do things that like taking risks on ideas and pushing themselves to try things, and instead of it being like, oh my god, what if I fail, like this is like bad, it was like I tried, I failed, I learned from this is a good experience. And then instead of it being like, oh, this is gonna make me feel bad about myself, it was like, how did you turn it into a win, in the sense of what did I learn and what did I experience from that, and how can I try something different. So I always try to think about that whenever I'm doing something different or new. I remember that story, and then it kind of helps me position it as, you know what, maybe it's not so bad to try something different. If it doesn't work, then I'll figure it out and we'll make it better next time.
Yeah, and you don't want to encourage like toxic positivity, but I do
Yeah.
think it's important to like take I hate like that just be positive because it's like so much more complex than that, right? And
Yeah.
it's that's something that and I totally agree with you. It's like you taking those failures and finding something about that's can be useful or
Yeah.
can be productive or, even if something doesn't work, it's like you have a solution for that situation for the future so you don't do it again, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that sometimes we get caught up in the negative side of it where it's, even if let's say you have a bad stream,
Yeah.
or you think you have a bad stream and you're like, "Oh, maybe my viewership was down." It's like how do you look at that and say, okay, yes, viewership was down. Why? How
Mhm.
can we fix it to the future? But it's also looking at that stream and saying, okay, where did I succeed in that stream though? Was my chat really busy? Was my chat really engaged? Were people talking the whole time? Then that's
Yep.
something that you can take is like, I did this well. How do we take that and run with it to continue to maintain that metric, but then also fix the metric that didn't make me happy,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I think that as content creators, we are so drilled into our head about metrics all the time, and it's always going to be viewership because that's what so many places value.
Mhm.
But there is so much more than that to determine whether or not you had a successful stream or
Mhm.
you had a successful event or, whatever it may be. Um, and I'm still learning to do that because I'm my worst critic and I'm always hard on myself. And I think a lot of people are the hardest on themselves. Um, and I'm still learning how to be better at that too. So
Yeah. Yeah, me definitely for sure. I definitely know it's like, "Oh my god, this thing isn't working," or "My microphone was doing this weirdo thing, like, oh, how do I fix this?" Like, then I'll like turn into that like it's like replaying in my mind over and over again. So, yeah, I totally feel you on that. It's like, how do I get past that, you know? So,
yeah.
yeah, it's tough, but you
Are
know
you
what?
really are you really a content creator if you don't experience imposter syndrome at least once a day?
It
Let's be real.
for real. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
You don't even have to be a content creator. It could literally be with anything in your life, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
yeah.
I know I experienced that for art making for sure.
Oh, totally. Anything creative especially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
100%.
it's so subjective. So it's like there's always gonna be somebody out there that's like, "Oh, I love this," and then there's always gonna be somebody like this, like, "Oh, you need more practice," like, you know. So,
I don't like those people. I think you're wonderful.
oh, oh, thanks. I just want to talk a little bit too about, you talked earlier, about marginalized communities on Twitch and their experience. As like I love talking to other women content creators in this space. Like what do you think your experience as a woman is like on Twitch, and how would you like to see things change for the better, or like what would you like to see happen just for other people on Twitch?
Oh, this is such a big question. I think that this is I think that this question is bigger than Twitch.
Yeah.
I think that this subject is bigger than Twitch. I
Yeah.
think this is a cultural and an issue with our current society, and that bleeds into Twitch. Um it's tough being a woman on the internet. It's tough
Mhm.
being a woman anywhere.
Yeah.
Existing as a woman is tough. And I I grew up in a very conservative with a very conservative mindset. So even I, growing up, being a young woman, I had a lot of internalized misogyny and a lot of internalized issues with hating myself as a woman. And I didn't even realize it until I got older and I was like, looking back saying, "Oh wow, I did not like women when I was this age." And you see it so much on Twitch of these people like, "Oh, I'm not sexist. I'm not a misogynist." But then you're seeing them say things that's like you don't even realize that your perspective and your mindset is pushing a very sexist perspective. And you see it all the time with the whole like women showing their bodies on Twitch, right?
Mhm.
You see that conversation and you see lots of people saying like, "Well, I support all women, but I'm not going to support these women," or I support all women, but these women aren't as valuable because they have a low cut shirt or they're wearing a short skirt or whatever. Um, and so I think that there's just a really I do think that we are starting to see a little bit of a shift in the culture, and I think that's due to women like us speaking out, and also men who speak out on our behalf as well. Uh, but being a woman on the internet on this planet is not safe. It's not safe. I don't feel safe walking down the street by myself at night. Um, I, you know, I just think about when I'm walking in my car at night, having to have pepper spray or, you know, keys threaded through my knuckles, or having, someone on the phone with me to make sure that I'm safe. Those types of things I think are going to be there even beyond my generation, which is really sad to think about. But um on the internet, a lot of people are very brave behind a keyboard and behind a monitor, and you start to see some of the worst in people on the internet. A lot of these people wouldn't dare say something like that to my face or to your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
But being behind a screen makes people very bold and makes people very motivated to share their hate with people that they think are inferior. And a lot of people have to leave the platform because it's too much, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It's really hard to combat that hate all the time.
Yeah. I
And
definitely feel, I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, 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 no,
Keep
no.
going
Go
on.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I definitely feel like just existing on the platform sometimes is like my way of saying like I belong and others like me belong. So
Yeah.
that's definitely been my approach. And like whenever I come to do something, it's like do it with grace and do it with style and show everybody that we have a place and we belong and we're gonna do things in amazing ways.
hmm Yeah. A really good example of someone that, and this was years ago, but um, being in I was, after I did, my Fortnite days, I did a pretty long stint in retro where I sat almost solely in the retro category. And that's kind of when I started doing my speed runs and all of that. And something that was really interesting was when I was speed running A Link to the Past, I had someone that came in and said, "Hey, we need more people that look like you speed running." And on the outside, it seems harmless, right? And on the outside, it seems like it might be a compliment.
Yeah.
But to me,
Mhm.
that made me feel like that my only value to the speedrunning community was what I looked like and not the skill that I was bringing to the table.
Gotcha.
And those are the types of things where that person may not know it, but feels like the value of a woman is based on her looks first
Yeah.
and not her skill level, her intelligence, her capabilities, her competencies. Like those types of things didn't even hit the top because that's what that person noticed first.
Mhm.
And I stopped what I was doing and we had that conversation on stream because I am one of the top female Link to the Past speedrunners in the world.
Mhm.
In the world. And this person made me feel like that didn't matter because I was just there to look pretty.
Yeah.
And when I explained it, they were like, "Oh, I was just trying to compliment you." But I'm like, that's not a compliment. That's like the same thing as saying like, "Oh, I I'm so glad that you don't show your body on Twitch," which I get that sometimes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
It's not a compliment. It means that you are weaponizing women's bodies and thinking of them lesser if they wear a tank top.
Yeah.
Like, it's hot outside sometimes. Like,
Yeah,
let us
or
wear a
sometimes
tank
you just
top.
want to look cute. You just want to look cute. Like, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm afraid to like wear anything other than my regular t-shirts that I wear. Like, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to look cute, like, oh, snap. Hey, Twitch Gaming. Thanks for that awesome raid. Hello, welcome in. Welcome. It's so nice to see you all. And if you've never been here, my name is Ash, and we're having a wonderful conversation with CocoConfession, who is an amazing broadcaster, speedrunner, talented musician, and amazing human being. So welcome in, everybody. It's nice to meet you all. Thanks for being here. And we're just having a chat about being on Twitch.
Welcome on in, Raiders.
Welcome.
Oh, I'm nervous. I was nervous before. Now I'm nervous now.
You're doing great. You're doing great. But yeah, no, I think I'm glad that you took the time to really explain that because, sometimes it's hard to know what to do in the moment. Like, you never know, like, how the conversation's gonna go. Is the person just gonna turn off whatever? They'll be like, oh, this person is like saying a lot of stuff at me that doesn't make sense. I'm gone or whatever. But you never know who else could be affected by that conversation and might have had like a particular stance on something and didn't realize, oh, wait, you know what? Maybe I should reevaluate the way that I think about that. So I'm glad that you did that.
Yeah, I think, it is exhausting and you do have to pick and choose your battles,
Yeah.
right? You can't do this every time cuz you have to protect your own space too, right? And there's only so many battles you can take on, but I think that and it's not our job to educate either,
Yeah.
it really isn't. But if we take the time to do it, and if we can change one perspective or open up someone's mind to just a different way of thinking, then it's worth it, right?
Hmm.
And I hope that that person, I hope that I, at least got them to see what they were saying could have been a little harmful. But yeah, I mean, I want to be recognized for lots of things, lots of different things. And so when I'm speed running, I want to be recognized for my skill in that. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of conversation around, being a woman on the platform. But I do think that a lot of the issues that you see are it's definitely seeping in from our culture and the society that we've built
Yeah.
outside of Twitch too.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Well, one step at a time, one day at a time, and I feel like you said, I feel like there's going to be like it's going to continually shift, and I feel like with things like social media and just like more people being on the platform and speaking their truth and being amazing like you are, I think that, hopefully there'll be some breakthrough to major changes. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
thank you.
I want to ask, if you were to create an album, what would the title be called? Or like what would be on the cover?
That is a really good question. That is a really hard question. um, you know what? I don't think I know. Cause here's the thing is that if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, my answer would be different than now.
Okay.
And I've never written an album. I've written songs and I have helped other bands with songwriting.
Mhm.
Um, I have never thought about putting out my own album.
Mm.
And part of that is imposter syndrome. Part of that is uh you know, I would be a little afraid of
Mhm.
what I would produce. I think it would be really personal and
Yeah.
really, which I think music should be personal. I think the best songwriters pull from their own experiences and emotions and all of that. I think there would be almost like a therapy session for
Yeah.
me where it would be really hard to face to write
Mm.
an album. And so I don't think I've really thought about like putting together a full work of music that would be mine. I think it's pretty wild to think about.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I'd love to
I don't
see
think I
that.
really answered your question,
No, I would
but
love to see that. Like maybe that could be like a cool charity incentive, like make a mock album cover and then do some cool art and then have the moderators like put it together and like do like
will
some
you do
kind
my
of
art? Will you do
yeah,
my art for me?
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I tend to be very I don't know if you've ever seen the meme of like the cute little bat that's like, I am the darkness. And it's like, but I give hugs, but I'm still the darkness. Like that's sort of me,
yeah.
where it's like, I do sometimes come off like if you were to talk to me on the phone, you probably think, oh my gosh, she's so bubbly and she's so, it's a lollipops and unicorns and all these things. But like most humans, like I'm a little broken. I am an emo kid at heart. I have a lot of, experiences in my life that I would probably pull from. And
Yeah.
I know that um, an album that I would write would probably be like a little bit darker than what I am, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think it does.
But
I think it does. Like I feel like there would probably be some things you would have to be like internally exploring and you'd be like, man, I didn't even know that was there because you're doing a lot of like, looking in and, why do I feel this way about this thing? And then it sometimes jumps down a rabbit hole. So I totally hear you on that.
it is so much easier to help people with their music than it is to write your own. I don't
Mhm.
know if that's for everybody, but that's definitely for me. 100%.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I totally
Having
feel
to
you.
face having to face the inner demons is one of those scary things. I mean,
Mhm.
you have to do it,
Yeah.
especially if you're creative, right? Like if you
Yeah.
do anything creative.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how I would go about that. I've written songs here and there.
Yeah.
Um that have like a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But if I were to do like an album, I'd want it to be something very cohesive and
Yeah.
very much a theme. Like I don't want it to be like songs picked from here and a little bit from here and a little bit. Like I'd want something to tell a story,
Yeah. I like that.
you know?
Yeah.
I maybe one day.
Yeah. I like that album title, Speed Running into the Abyss. That's so good. Okay.
I mean, that would probably work. Speed running into the darkness. Okay.
Oh man, I can't believe it's been over an hour, actually. I usually
See,
stop
Ash, I
people at
told you
55 minutes.
we were gonna need like 6.5 hours for this talk.
Seriously. I mean, it's just so easy to talk to you. Like you make it
Oh.
easy. It's really fun. I have like 100 more questions that I want to ask. Okay, one question I do want to ask before
Okay.
like I go for real is, do you have any like fun inside jokes with your community that you like all laugh about and stuff? And the reason why I feel like that's important is cuz like I feel like, people want to connect with you while you're on stream, but another place they connect with you offline is Discord, and lots of fun and amazing things happen there. So, what are some ways that you celebrate with your community, and what are some of your best inside jokes?
Oh, there are so many. Um, there are so many. I mean, the thing right now is a really great example is I my community they're great at making like gifts of me. And so that's like a thing right now. So what happened was I gave my moderators access to changing the banner on Discord. And so now it's like a rotating gif of me doing something embarrassing on the internet all the time. And it's
Yeah.
always changing. And I never know when it's going to change. I have no control over it. So that's like something that happens. I mean, Sim Week brought so many memes. I actually during that week we unlocked a bunch of new emote slots. Every single emote slot that was filled was an emote that was made directly from Sim Week.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so there's now the power is abused. See, one of my mods, I see one of my mods in chat right now. The power is abused. It is 100%. There is a different, and the thing is sometimes I don't even see the gifts before they go up. They just go up, and I'm like, where did that come from? How did that get there?
Oh my
So
gosh.
there's we actually have a shade and things channel in my Discord
Yeah.
where it's just basically all funny stuff, memes, inside jokes of all the embarrassing things that I do. So we have a really good time in there. My community's awesome. We have a really really good time. We poke a lot of fun at each other, so we have a good time with it.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, before we go and find a nice person to raid, is there any advice you want to give to, maybe somebody who's new to broadcasting or, doesn't know like, you know, how to start on Twitch and you want to share like maybe something important from your journey that you think would help them?
Yeah, definitely what we talked about earlier. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and
Mhm.
learn from them and be honest with yourself too. Like sometimes the hardest thing to do is to self-reflect and to be self-aware and to be honest with yourself. And if things aren't working or you make a mistake, it's okay. Own it and just move on.
Mhm.
I think that's really important. And I also think that making real, genuine connections with people, you see so many people on Twitch that you can just tell are just trying to you see like the follow for follow stuff and you see, all these people getting upset about right, and I'm like, listen, it's all about making genuine connections. Insert yourself in communities that share the same values as you. Interact with those people, enjoy your friendships with these people, and you'll start to build a network of a community that you connect with and that you vibe with and that resonates with you. And you'll be able to find your place on the platform. Sometimes it's really hard to find where you belong, but once you do, you'll realize um, that you'll get support that you need and want because people will care about you. You know. So
I
I don't
love
know if that
that.
was great advice, but that's what came to my head first.
Well, it definitely resonates for sure. I mean, it's definitely really, really, yeah, I thought it was really good advice. Well,
Well, that's we found each other through retro, right? I don't
mhm.
know who found who first. Maybe you found me first, but we found each other through retro, and that was the thing too, is we didn't really know each other as streamers necessarily at first, right? It's
Yeah.
like we connected through a shared interest in retro games. Um and our friendship
Yeah.
kind of evolved from there. And n- now you're absolutely killing it on the platform and you're doing all these amazing things with retro, and you're a Twitch ambassador now, which is amazing. And it's like,
Oh.
it's really awesome to be able to have those types of relationships with people and grow together and
Yeah.
experience those things with each other and celebrate each other's successes. And I think that sometimes people jump into the platform so worried about their own business and not really looking to make genuine connections with people on the platform, and not just on Twitch, on Twitter or TikTok, wherever you're going to do content creation. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That to me, it's like that's the biggest thing for Twitch for me is just like all the amazing people that I've met and hung out with and got to chill with at TwitchCon and like just like become genuine like real friends with. Like even if I stop broadcasting tomorrow, it's like okay, I know I can still like go and talk to this person on Discord or text them or whatever, and that is really important to me. So, I think that
Yeah.
that's really great advice. So, well, thank you so much for your
Thank you for
time.
having me.
Oh gosh, this was great. I'm glad we got to chat about some of your best moments, all of the amazing work that you're doing, all of the advice that you gave, your community. Thank you so much for being here and showing up strong and, giving us some really fun and awesome things to think about. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Do you want to find a nice person to raid?
Oh, are you asking me? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pressure.
I mean, if you want to,
You
you
don't have
don't have to. I mean,
you we'll go wherever you want to go.
I see D is on. Why don't we go say hi to 8
Oh my
Bit
gosh,
D?
she's so mad at me because I caused chaos in her chat earlier. So yes, let's go over there and cause more chaos.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Let me just put this raid message in the chat and let's go and say hello to D. Thank you so much everyone for being here. Thank you once again, Coco. Let me set hello Twitch dashboard. Can you please work for me? Please and thank you. Yeah, let's go. I've never heard of Gordian Quest, but that's what D is doing right
Oh,
now.
it's super fun. It's like a turn-based tactical game with D&D elements to it.
Ooh, that
Yeah,
sounds
it's super
awesome.
fun. I played it once on stream and I had a really good time with it. But anyway.
Awesome. Well, let's go over there and say hi to D. Thank you so much once again, everybody. And yeah, I will see you all for the next one. I don't know when the next one's going to be, but you know what? We'll figure it out. Thank you, Coco. I hope you have a wonderful
Thanks, Ash.
night. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye, everyone.